Well, as my late father used to always say, he said, like, every day is a school day and you learn something new every day.
This is one of the things that I really enjoy about learning is I'm not learning for any particular reason, I'm just learning because I love it.
I find that learning just for learning is one of the best things you can do for yourself, because you really open your mind to new ways of thinking and just learn to be better.
I had a wonderful experience of learning all my life. I was lucky because my mother was a great believer in education, and I was lucky too that I enjoyed school and I actually loved learning. A lot of people had bad experiences, but I had a very positive one. I suppose in a way I was privileged and I didn't realise it at the time because a lot of my school colleagues never went further than primary school. I didn't know that. It's only in later life I realised a lot of them had to leave school at primary. I just assumed, because I went on to secondary, that they would too. And I was lucky that I got the Leaving Cert, and I would have liked to go on to college, but because of the times and lack of money, I couldn't go. But it was always a desire of mine to go, but circumstances didn't allow.
Well, I'd been continuously asking myself, you know, what I was going to do when I returned, that I'd have to return to the workforce again. And being 53 years of age and having no qualifications, the thought, it was scary. So I was wondering, like, what were my prospects? How was I going to gain new skills? Where was I going to get these new skills from? Who could I ask for help? Who could assist me to get back into the workforce? That answer came in May of 2022 when I discovered the Limerick Lifelong Learning Festival, and it offered a coffee morning in TUS for mature students. And here I am today.
When I was younger, I never really understood the significance of learning, but as I've become more aware of my surroundings and I've met people who really push me to learn things, and even just talking to new people, you really learn so much, and it's way more enjoyable when you're talking to your friends and having that kind of informal conversation. I find you learn way more from people just from talking to new people, because they have so many experiences that I wouldn't have even thought about or even considered knowing these things. But then you find that your eyes are kind of open to new ways of thinking and new things to learn, because even learning languages in school, that creates such a bridge between you and other people.
Regardless of what environment we're in, education or learning is essential for our well-being. It creates confidence in people, it brings people out of their comfort zones, brings people closer together, regardless if that's done in the environment of a village hall, community centre. It brings us all together, as I said, and even if it's in the college, you know, it's all learning, it's all a process. And the joy of learning empowers people. And as an advocate for lifelong learning, Nelson Mandela said, education was the most powerful weapon in the world.
I find in the last few years that I'm always trying to spread the word about the joy of learning, and I hope I inspire other people to start, because it made such a difference to my life. I could be over dramatic and say it saved my life, and I don't mean literally it saved my life, but mentally for sure. I wasn't in a particularly good place when I was ill, and I was feeling hopeless and pointless, and going to classes and courses and things like that completely changed that mindset. And I kind of want to share that with everybody. I probably drive them mad at times, because I'm always advertising what's coming up, especially in September. I'm always sending emails and things to people saying this is on, that's on. And if I hear of a class, like a man I know doesn't go out of his house much, and I know there's a men's shed locally, and they'll be saying, you know, that's only for 2 hours. And I hope most people will get that. But what really, I suppose, struck me most of all since I started off learning was I met a lady from the community, and she got a certificate for, I think it was history in the intercert, and she was 60 years of age, and she was crying. And I was stunned by this, and I was only just started off going back to education. She said, it's the first certificate I ever got in my life, and it nearly made me cry. And I thought to myself, wow, I'm only 30, whatever it was. I can do so much. And that inspired me. So I'm kind of doing, I think they call it pay it forward, is it? I'm trying to do the same now for other people. And you can't really explain to them until they experience it, how it completely changes your life in every way.
When I was younger, it was kind of off to a bit of a rocky start because I wasn't the best in primary school. Like, you should have seen my results in like Irish and things. But as I've gotten older and when I went into secondary school specifically, I found that like my teachers and my family really pushed me to like be better. And also I came to care about it more. Like, I realized that I should be doing things for myself rather than like the grade at the end of the day. Like, there's a stigma around learning. I find that people don't want to go back into it, or they don't think it's interesting. Like, they might find it boring because, oh, that's just to do with school. Like, you only need to learn things off for school. But I found, especially as I went into transition year and as I've progressed on, that it's great to be able to encourage other people to get involved, and especially like my friends or the people in school, to help them to understand that it's not all about that. Like, learning to paint or learning to knit or something is just as useful as learning in school would be. Like, even learning a new word can change everything, you know? Like, the little things really add up in the end. So I really like encouraging people to learn new things.
The lectures at TUS were absolutely amazing. The inspiration, the motivation, and the belief in their students was fantastic. And I was really inspired by them, and I personally wanted to give something back. And since my journey began with the Limerick Lifelong Learning Festival, it made sense to me that that's where I would go to and help to inspire, encourage, and develop people with their lifelong learning adventure.
Seeing as it's my last achievement, and I'll be boastful, last week I graduated from UL with a diploma called CWEL. It means Community, Wellness, Empowerment, Leadership and Life Skills. And I must admit it was very emotional, because I never realised at 61 years of age that I would get a cap and gown, and I always wanted to do it since I was 18, but never had any money. And UL was very far away mentally and physically, but I've done it. It took me 2 years and it was difficult going, and I just can't believe I did it. I'm still smiling about it. So it's never too late to learn. I suppose that would be my thing to say to anybody. It's never too late to learn.